Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 129. Wax on. How's everyone doing tonight?
Tonight I will be waxing off.
I
I mean, wax on, wax off. Come on, Daniel LaRusso, Mr. Miyagi. Come on.
I just thought explosion there for a second. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's Wednesday. Super amped to be on the cast tonight, even though we're all waxing off, as Israel says. I'll take that from the Mr. Miyagi perspective and not the other, if you know what I mean.
That's right.
But yeah, Wednesday is pretty good. How's everybody else's Wednesday? Yeah.
Well, mine's excellent. I'm glad we got started with an 80s throwback. That's always a highlight.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun will be coming out. There's a lot of haters out there. I think it's actually going to be decent. Speaking of 80s throwbacks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But my week has been going well. It's been hectic. Anniversary's coming up here soon, so got to figure stuff out for that. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun. But yeah, overall, pretty good. Did you say an Uber?
No, what number?
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Congrats, man. My 7th is on November 10th. So be married 7 years in this November.
There you go. And you post like engagement wedding photos like 5 months before that. So thanks, Charles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just in that moment, man. I was like, oh, this was a classic day.
Now today, Charles posted, pictures whenever they were, when his wife was pregnant. Yeah. And the photo shoot of that, meaning that most likely then his child was probably born like January or February.
Could be. I don't know. You have to follow my page to really get the full story. So, woo! Yeah. I just warn you, anybody that actually requests me on Facebook and is actually a real person, I do post all types of things. I don't discriminate, so just be ready for that.
Yes, he treats everyone with the same amount of cruelty. I'm joking. Mm-hmm. Charles is like the least cruel person like in the world.
Thank you. I'm all about having fun.
Today is Wednesday, so another 80s throwback. It's opposite day.
Look at that. Oh, and yeah. So Darren, how's your Wednesday?
Yeah, sorry, Darren.
Oh, it's okay. No, it's going fine. Just about the same as usual. Just living life, dealing with things. Had my AC go out last week, so that was fun. But thankfully, it was a minor fix.
Yeah.
So, especially now because it was pushing 100 yesterday. So it's hot as fuck out here.
I know it is.
Yeah. Nothing else really major here.
Okay. Yeah, it's
nice. I envy all of you with AC.
You don't have AC?
No.
Get a system.
I mean, you better. I did.
Get a ductless system if you get nothing else.
It went. So there was a flood in the cellar. I think I told you guys. Run BSD, loving it, man. There was a flood in the cellar like 2 years ago, and insurance just did not cover nearly enough, and so there is the opportunity flooding could happen again. So I'm not going to get and put a brand new system down there until I get drainage and everything around the house fully taken care of.
Well,
so
if you're worried about that, just get a ductless system because all they do is they hook into your chiller pipes, and I mean they're easy to retrofit, especially if you have an old house and your ductwork is crappy.
No, I mean my ductwork's good. It's just that the AC unit lives in the cellar, and so flooding in the cellar equals. Yeah, the furnace and then the whatever thing is outside. But yeah, the furnace lives down in the cellar, and so once that gets smoked, yeah.
I'm watching Charles.
Hey, hey, Charles in charge.
Yeah.
Woo! Long live the 80s.
I love it, man. Woo! I'm just having some fun today. I just feel good. Let's roll.
Yeah, I think Run DMC was how I first learned about Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's tricky music video. They're in that.
Yeah, I'm just in my old retro run BSD, of course. I'm actually looking at getting a free BSD license plate too.
Nuh-uh. What state
Yeah,
are you moving
No, state of South Carolina, but have the free BSD license plate.
to? In
But
South Carolina?
Don't
You have
you
to have,
actually
like, a
have to
little
have a
Confederate
vehicle
flag.
registered in there?
Hmm? I have a
Don't-
vehicle.
Okay.
registered.
Okay.
Yeah. My vehicle is registered in South Carolina. I actually own property in South Carolina, so it's yeah. I just keep
Is
my
it prime?
vehicles registered.
Is it prime beachfront property
Yeah.
down in the valley?
No. This is in a pretty cool neighborhood. I actually have renters to rent the house out, but they pay the rent to my parents.
Oh,
So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I got property
Do
down
your
in
parents
Arkansas.
give you any?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say,
I was just asking.
Arkansas if I'm trying to sell it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do you really have something in Arkansas?
Yeah, I didn't hear it from
Oh,
my
wow.
uncle. He passed away. And I think it even may have a lake view. I've never actually been down to it. But the damn realtors aren't really communicating with me because I've been trying to sell it because I think it's worth about $30,000. There's no house on it. But
Oh,
okay. So it's just land, maybe with a shack or something on it.
yeah, I don't know why Uncle bought it. I'm assuming maybe he was going to set it like hunting or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's massive down in Arkansas. Is different hunting properties. They'll actually take like small ribbons and either ribbon off the trees or ribbon off their entire property. Kind of designating it as theirs, and nobody else should be hunting on their It's big business down there.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle was a hunter. I got rid of him. He had a boar's head that used to be on his wall for since I was a little kid, and I gave that to my favorite pub. Now it's still in that pub, but it's got a pimp hat on it.
Nice.
Take it from someone who actually has in-laws who live in Arkansas. Yeah, hunting is big out there.
Yeah, as well as poaching, but we won't get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's aggravating whenever the poachers come out.
I kind of wanted. I wanted to hang the pig head up in what's called the Red Room at Richo's, which has a bunch of communist paraphernalia and so forth. And my uncle was a lifelong Republican, as far as I know. So I'd probably be funny if a capitalist pig was invading the Red Room.
That would have been funny, but I mean, you could have taken it the other way. Found a bar that's like a cop watering hole and donated it there.
Oh, that's true. Right now, it's also next to a picture of Eisenhower out in the when you first walk into the restaurant.
Nice. Always good.
Yeah.
How's everybody else doing?
Yeah, Jack, how are you doing?
Talk about it.
Oh, I'm good.
Hey, I love Jack's weekly response. Jack
Yeah.
is the most dead center person on here.
Yeah, he is. He just says, "I'm good."
Yep.
Okay.
Loving life.
Yep.
Well, I won't say that. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh, he's happy. We know that.
That's right. On here he's got the jacket with the bald head. Jack actually has hair like halfway down his back.
Well,
It's
according to
pretty
some
amazing.
people, he looks just like me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
According
the
to who?
big beard. Yeah.
You remember the
Pretty
guy?
amazing.
You remember Dave Cochran saying that? Are you agreeing with me because I look like you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And let me send a special shout out to somebody. Hot Dish for calling out Dave Cochran on his thirst.
Oh, what happened?
Thirsty.
I thought it was.
giving me shit in a follow Friday. Someone I'd blocked long ago, and the conversation went on. Then Snubs jumped into it, and then I had a bunch of people defending me, and some of the people defending me apparently, at least one of them got blocked. But,
Yeah, because he didn't block me. I guess maybe because he found out I was black. I don't know.
Damn it, I wish I was black. Damn. Be so much easier.
I guess. You keep thinking that.
Wow. Turtles.
Fuck.
Okay, just
I'm showing out today. I'm sorry.
yeah, just
Yeah.
for a little context here, I'm like 99 to 100% certain Charles is the only person at home right now.
No, I'm actually not.
No.
Oh, he's gonna be sleeping on the couch tonight.
Wow, that's amazing.
No, I'm not. I'm not the only one home.
Dude, if I started laughing like that, I'm pretty sure my wife would come downstairs packing, looking for what's happening.
Well, my wife knows
You're nuts.
like this. Yeah. You said it. I can't say it. I'm normal to some people.
Yeah, to
Someone
people.
out there.
Yeah.
I'm normal to my
Now that's funny right there.
What, normal to some people or just normal?
You and anywhere near normal. That's funny.
Hey. But a nut still works in pretty well with a group of nuts.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason. He says I like her video. Hats 5 is cool.
Fuck Hack 5.
Mm. Now, why don't you like Hat 5?
I told you about that one time I didn't like
Oh.
Hack 5.
That's right. You sure did. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Tonight's laugh. That's the new laugh tonight. When I hear something wild, I'm in that mode.
Charles's laugh tonight has been brought to you by Adrian Crenshaw, maker of beard powder and oil. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And Charles has not had anything but like water to drink. This is Charles. Merry Christmas.
I'm actually sipping water now. I just have this all-purpose mug because I don't feel like throwing everything else in the dishwasher.
I'm having a wee bit of coffee with ice cream in it. That's
the best.
heavy cream with a little bit of happy sauce mixed in. So,
yeah. So speaking of the sauce, let's get to some breeches.
Yeah,
wow. This is hot sauce for real.
Okay, so and right before breaches, since we do have announcements on there, I'll be at Black Hat booth 2 something next week. If you're there, come by, say hi. I'm really hoping the grasshoppers leave before next Tuesday. Did you guys all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was wild. I saw the video.
Crap.
I think they'll be gone, but
I'm hoping so.
How did that even happen?
They're heading here.
Are they? Good. That's what I like to hear.
It's Texas, dude. When it gets to summer, you hear nothing but cicadas. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the grasshoppers were registering on like storm radars and stuff, like that bad. And
that's why everything's big in Texas.
Well, at least big things are moving there.
Haven't you seen like the Doppler radars when it's bayfly season in like the Midwest? Oh,
yeah.
You see a cloud, it lasts a day or two, then it just stops.
Yeah.
And I lived in Wisconsin for a year and a half. Oh my God, they freaking smell like shit when they die. It reeks.
Really?
Oh yeah. There's a reason why they're called fish flies. Because it smells like rotting fish when they die. I'm not joking. It's awful.
Yeah, like we never ever have anything like that here in Ohio. I mean,
so kind of like humans when humans die, and they stink because all of the stuff that they're consuming.
Because Charles takes them out of his freezer.
You read a story about a guy who was his mom died while he was cleaning out her house.
Yes.
It's not a baby in the freezer.
Yeah, that was messed up.
That was screwy, and it may be based on what the dad said. It may have been his half sister.
Yeah, that's
his dad said on
messed
a
up.
date with his mother. She was pregnant, but then the next date she wasn't.
Wow.
So how many guys are asking out pregnant women?
Let me talk about that off air.
All right.
Well, I mean, not whatever you are wanting to discuss. Yes, we can definitely talk about off air. But if guys are only looking for one thing, it's not like you're going to impregnate a woman 2 times once she's already pregnant. So if that's what they're looking for,
wow, that's coming from you. Just remember that came from Israel. That did not come from Jack. Jack didn't say shit.
I mean, you
Or me.
I mean, but if that's what the guys are looking for, I could imagine some guys doing that. That's not my cup of tea, or wasn't my cup of tea, but I could see some guys doing that.
All right, let's get to the breach report.
And with that, we'll hit the breach report. So, good old Capital One. Now everybody knows what's in your wallet. Yeah, everybody here heard about Capital One, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
100 million people in the U.S. affected, 6 million people in Canada affected. And this isn't, even though the breach was within the last few months, the data included records that went back to, and I'm just remembering all this right now, I'm pretty sure it was 2005. So if you have, and not only did this include potentially card data and information like that, but it also included everything you use to register or apply for a credit card. This is your address, your social security number. I mean, half of your life history, because it's a credit card. And so what Capital One was doing, they were storing data within AWS. I think was actually, was it S3? Not was within AWS. And so come to find out, it was an employee for Amazon who eventually confessed to it.
No, wait a minute. That thing did not confess to shit. That thing got caught with their pants down, and somebody sent them somebody sent the feds sent Capital One an email saying, "Hey, y'all got took."
Yeah, and one of my buddies, I think, was the one who may have been kind of that squeaky wheel. Because this data is out there already on the internet available. So, and two, we're not talking like a small amount of data. These were individual, it sounds like each request was stored, I think, in an individual file that was not encrypted. Amazon employees, if they wanted to be malicious, like this person wanted to, had full access if they had access to get into the system. But yeah, that was just a complete shit show when it came to security and procedures and protocol. But massive, and this is gonna at least equal, if not overtake, Equifax.
No, I don't think this will overtake Equifax at all.
I think it potentially could, at least in size.
No,
Equifax was similar size.
No, I mean it will not overtake. This will not overtake Equifax. This was like you said, it was a comedy of errors. One, it was it was a dipshit dumbass that didn't know what the fuck they had. Didn't know what the fuck they had. They wanted to get rid of it. They asked for help. Somebody snitched, which I'm sure they didn't do it for their own good.
But that right there is a bullshit excuse. Didn't know what they had. Whenever you're talking that many individual files, okay, so you pull down 1,000, 2,000 files so far, versus 100 million. By the end of the 100 million, and a couple days later, you should have known what you had within the first 20, 30 minutes at minimum.
But I mean,
or at maximum.
But I mean, most of the stories. One story I read earlier today, they were trying to make excuses for that thing, and the reason why I'm saying that thing is because, to me, it looks like a meth head that that needs to get sunlight and has consumed way too many methamphetamines.
Yes. Yeah, and I wasn't honestly sure. Like, I forget what the person's name is, but the picture kind of looked like a female, but may have been a male.
My understanding is they are a transgender individual.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. No.
Well, if they're trans, calling them it may not be exactly the best course of action.
I gives a motherfuck.
Yeah.
Jason, yes, love the Brave browser. Use it on all my devices, including Android. But yeah, so it's a huge, huge shit show. And if they were trying to say that they were, trying to do bug bounty types of items, okay, so you do proof of concept, you drop 500 files, not every single one of them, and then you definitely do not make them available for others to access. So I heard one person saying that they were doing a or trying to do a bug bounty and do research. No, that's not how research works. You do research and then you contact the company and you inform them if you're doing it outside of like a regular legal bug bounty program.
They tweeted about it, didn't they?
Who?
The person who did breach.
Yeah, right before
Yes.
the feds came and stopped the bracelets on them.
Yeah. And but yeah, the data is out there because once they had all the data down, they probably got the hit that oh Jesus moment that, oh crap, what have I really done? And then they tried to start dispersing it. And and we see malware authors do this constantly. They write malware. It's very or somewhat successful to very successful for X amount of time, and then they make it open source, and they distribute it out to make it harder for the feds or anybody else to point it back to original author. So that's, in my opinion, probably what they were trying to do with this, try to get the data in as many hands as possible so that they couldn't necessarily pinpoint it to one person. But yeah, shit show. As well as I did go ahead and post a link on here for if you were affected. Credit freeze. We've talked about this probably a dozen times at least. Credit freezes are good to do not only whenever your data has been compromised, but do it before your data has been compromised. If you are not planning on getting a credit card, getting a home loan, getting an auto loan, whatever, for whatever amount of time, put a credit freeze with all the bureaus so that nobody can open up any new lines of credit in your name for any reason. And then if you need to go in and get, a loan or something and use credit, take the freeze off at that point. And then once you have it, you've secured your loan, put the freeze back on. There's no reason to have open credit available 100% of the time.
Yeah, you can temporarily thaw your credit report. Usually, it's either online or I think for I had to do it for TransUnion. I just had to call in and they'll give you a PIN number. You basically give them information, give them a PIN, and okay, when do you want to start it? When do you want to end it? And basically, at the end of that time, it goes back to frozen.
Yeah, and it's a necessity in today's day and age. If you have kids, we've said this 100 times too, freeze their credit, 100%. Do not release it until at minimum they're 18, and then, the law may say differently on what you can and cannot do, but definitely freeze your kids' credit so that nobody, even if somebody is able to get access to your child's social security number, or a copy of their birth certificate or something, yeah, they can't do jack shit with it. Fun. Okay, anything else on Cap 1? Yet. Okay. Komodo hit. Do not put credentials in GitHub. This should not be something we have to talk about. This should not be something that anyone ever has to talk about. hard-coded credentials were in Komodo's GitHub that was publicly facing. And this is not even freaking hack. I mean, it is technically a hack, but it's not hacking. It is looking at source code that's freely available to the public that has username and password, and that username and password works. Like, do not, and two, put multi-factor auth in, but do not hard code credentials and have those credentials out viewable to the public. That's just asinine. And anybody watching on YouTube, show notes, left side of your screen, Adrian Crenshaw, show notes, docs.google. Everything we're talking about right now. But yes, so Komodo was compromised. The attacker was able to use the credentials that they found on the GitHub repository, and it's just freaking stupid. The account was hacked by somebody else, apparently, also, who was sending out spam from Komodo. So, spokesperson with Komodo said the account was an automated account used for marketing and transactional purposes. The data access was not manipulated in any way, and within hours of being notified by the researcher, the account was locked down. Excellent. But still, do not put crap that can lead someone straight into your environment on GitHub or anywhere else on the WAN. Anybody got anything they want to say about that?
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. And last one on breach report. Cyber attack on LAPD has been confirmed. Data breach impacts thousands of officers. And holy crap, like it says 2,500 serving officers. LAPD has 2,500 officers? That's like a small town.
Well, of course, but I mean, it's stuff that compared to the NYPD.
Yeah, that is a good point. What is NYPD? Probably 3,000 to 4,000, or maybe even bigger. But yeah, I guess they are a big one. But the data breach exposed names, date of birth, email addresses, and passwords, which were set up during job applications. So if you're old school, like before the internet, and you're still serving, congratulations, you're not part of this. As well as the last 4 digits of the social security numbers. So this wasn't only the 2,500 current serving officers. This was also 17,500 job applicants who are also impacted. They're currently investigating it. The alleged hacker, NBC Los Angeles reported that the alleged hacker had contacted the city last week, offering examples of the breach. LAPD told officers in the message they should monitor their personal financial accounts, copies of the credit reports, and file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. Whoop-de-doo! Federal Trade Commission. But yeah, just I had to throw one city in there. I know there was something that happened in a Texas city this week that they paid the ransom, I believe, but I didn't throw that on the show notes. But
yeah, and then as well as Georgia, again.
Yeah, freaking stupid. Okay, anybody got anything else on LAPD? If not, Caprico is off doing IR. Sorry for his luck. He's working long hours for at least a few days. Anybody listening, I'm sorry for anybody who does IR. It's especially contract. It is long hours. You get next to no sleep. The food is so-so. IR really does suck. If you're an IR and love it, like awesome. It's
well, I mean, it also
Thank you.
it also depends on who you work for. I mean, like
No,
the
I mean, like, not like, there's malware on an endpoint. We're gonna do IR. I'm talking like breach-based IR.
well,
Boots on the ground IR.
yeah, I've done that, and well, I mean, that was the one time in KC. That was the other time that I was in Portland, Oregon,
Yeah.
and minus the bullshit that was going on there. KC was just fine.
Well, I mean, for most people, IR is going to be, if it's like boots on the ground incident response due to a breach,
Mhm.
it's going to be 12 to 16-hour days, and next to no sleep, all hands on deck type of thing, like Capital One right now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's insane how that. I mean, but you know what? With the Capital One, I mean, right now, and everybody we all need to be paying attention to this. Like, Capital One is just the beginning. I mean, I look for more stuff to happen.
With Cap One, or
well, not just
across the
Cap
board?
One, just in general, how they were breached and everything else. I mean, everybody's laughing at Cap One right now, but again, I mean, I do look to see more of these happening, like,
Yeah.
in a mere couple of months.
And well, I don't know necessarily a couple months, but it's definitely something that is on the radar.
Yeah.
Something that should be evaluated.
Well,
you
it's
are.
not, go ahead. But I'm well. Never mind.
No, go ahead. What were you about to say?
These things, considering the size of companies like Capital One, Equifax, and a lot of them, this is probably going to be a thing that's going to pop up for the next 5 to 7 years, just simply because that's how long it's going to take for these ships to correct themselves. I mean, there's plenty of people who's got misconfigured servers. We've all worked at companies, and they're all cookie cutter setups.
Yeah, I agree.
And how many people actually dig in deep on every single setup of every single server that they have? And that's including the ones that are in that are a part of other people's clouds.
But
AWS.
in this case, I mean, there is something. Yes, it's going to impact processing speed and everything else, but there's one thing they could have done that we've been preaching for years and years and years and years: file encryption. And if the attacker would have got encrypted files, whoop-de-doo. It's pointless, like meaningless to them. Like, they can't do shit with them. But you got to stop. Not you, but companies have to stop trusting. Home Depot. Their attack occurred due to HVAC. They trust that HVAC company, and somebody was able to breach in and get in through the HVAC company. We have to stop placing a trust in other companies that we work with. We have to give them data, or if we're storing data within AWS, you need to encrypt the freaking data, So Amazon employees cannot access it. Like, I'm perfectly fine storing stuff in the cloud as long as it's encrypted. Like, I don't give a crap who is managing their server, because it's encrypted data. Like, they can't access it. So, I mean, there's certain safeguards we've had in place for years and years, and companies just need to understand it. Like, we have to take a zero trust mentality across the board, even whenever it comes to data farms. My rant.
No, agreed. I mean, again, and it's just, like I said, it's just a typical cat and mouse game where you have people, you have a situation that happens like this. Everyone all of a sudden becomes aware, like, oh my God, this is crazy. We need to put all these policies in place. We need to really pay attention. We need to really start paying for pen tests. We need to, now everything's a sense of urgency. Give it like a month from now after everything dies down and it's back to status quo. I mean, it's just typical,
Well, it's not so much back to status quo as, oh, okay, well, you wanted to rethink this policy. Well, let's kick that can down the road because we got other pressing priorities.
Yeah,
That's true too.
and I'm definitely not like throwing all that. Like I guarantee, Cap One, some of the managers and maybe CISO whatnot will probably be like, go over this. Like this is.
I don't think so.
I think.
Nah.
I think we're to a point where this is bad enough. I mean, because it is equal to Equifax. I mean,
Well,
people.
yeah, but I mean, I don't see them lopping heads off for this. And if they do lob somebody's head off, it's going to be somebody low, and then they're going to judge the public reaction over it.
I don't know, because I think this will end up going before Congress, all that other fun stuff. Like I think
I don't think so. This is
I
probably
think
not going
heads
to go
will,
past the FTC.
I don't know. I think this is going to draw some attention, or more attention than normal, because we've had all these breaches to learn from, and
still,
I mean, data encryption is such a
but
basic.
but I mean, like even the previous organization I work for, like I told people,
we know
it's like,
you work for the Russian government. We know.
but still, I was like getting them to change directions is like trying to steer a cruise ship with a boat oar. You're not going to do much.
And that's why you need an iceberg sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but
hey, it's effective. But
you're still not going to turn that ship. I mean, you're just not. That ship's not going to turn on a dime. It's going to turn eventually, but.
But to what I'm really hoping is that enough people, and not just security people, because security people know all this. Well, most, once you get to management, maybe not as much, but the tech security people know this. Data encryption is crucial. But what we also need is for the business to actually understand it, and understand. Yeah, so we need to stand up more servers. There's going to be additional expense because we need to encrypt the data. The processing is going to use more memory. We need to stand up additional servers, so we can actually secure the data. And you got to start realizing what companies need to realize what the crown jewels are and put proper security precaution, layered security around those crown jewels.
Okay, Israel. You say you want to stand up more servers, but where's the cost justification there?
That's what I'm saying.
They're in.
That's what I'm hoping, is that more people start to see this from a business perspective and then a risk perspective, that this will help to inflate, the risk by not encrypting the data.
Well, I mean, they're going to look at it as a simple dollars and cents comparison. How often does this happen? Because I mean, in Capital One's case, they happen to have excellent breach insurance, and that's the reason why the only thing you're getting is credit monitoring. Is probably going to be it. And anything beyond that, their premium covered.
There's lawsuits cooking left and right over this one.
Well, yeah, there's going to be lawsuits cooking, but they got breach insurance. They're good.
Yeah, they got breach insurance, but breach insurance doesn't necessarily. Breach insurance,
it covers litigation.
Yes, it covers that. But if you are liable and weren't up to a certain security posture, then you are still liable, and insurance will not cover it.
That depends upon who's underwriting it and what the terms of the insurance
and
are.
it depends on the insurance and how they define. I forget the actual legal term.
Negligent.
Yeah, but how they actually define what enough coverage and what an appropriate security posture is. So if they did not define encryption, yeah, they will be covering it. But guess what? If they have breach insurance, it did not include encryption. Guess what that insurance company is going to be adding into that policy probably already for any future contracts.
Unless they're gonna go with the you need to hold Amazon and any you need to hold any third parties any third party vendors hold harmless.
Well, yeah, I mean, and two, we can't take our eyes off of Amazon. Amazon's still at fault here. Their employee stole it.
Well, former employee.
Yeah, former employee, but they still knew how to pop through the firewall through a back door and then run commands straight through the firewall to be able to extract the data. So, yeah, I mean, that is a hole in the firewall. And so with that backdoor being there and that accessibility, yeah, they're still liable for that, and at least in some fashion. Definitely not the full extent since they didn't execute it, but there was a backdoor there. Okay, next up, yes, vulnerability of the week, LibreOffice. Run arbitrary Python code. So Caprico threw this out there this week, and like we said, he unfortunately could not be on tonight, but there is a RCE CB 2019-9848. LibreOffice is shipped by default with LibreLogo. LibreLogo executes code that is internally translated to Python code and executed. Run a mouse over event, open a calc. And on the page, there's a link that goes to, yes, insulator.net and a POC, so that you can do this proof of concept, and essentially it's a stinking mouse over the code. And so if you're able to get code on an endpoint that's running LibreOffice, I think this was Windows only. Let me validate that. Yes, Windows machine. And so send a phishing email in, whatever. It's able to get the Python onto the endpoint. Within the LibreOffice directory, you can essentially do whatever you want then, open a reverse shell so you can access a system, run something that sends stuff out to your server, have fun with it. I mean, in a good research-oriented way. Anybody got anything on that one?
Not I, says the duck.
There you go. Okay. Next up, we got some vulnerable stuff. iOS update to the current version. RCE POCs are currently in the wild. So RCE remote codecs. Update to iOS 12.4 now. This one doesn't actually go deep into the actual proof of concept, but security researchers have released proof of concept for 4 exploits that would allow anyone with enough skill to target a device and execute malicious codes remotely. From what I was reading, I think you still have to receive like a text message, receive something that you click on for it to actually fully work. But yeah, the CVE is in the link. And the update also introduces iPhone migration to directly transfer data from old iPhone to new iPhone, as well as enhancements to Apple News, which, whoop-de-doo, Apple News. And includes a security fix for the walkie-talkie app and walkie-talkie app on Apple Watch, and re-enables walkie-talkie functionality. So if you ever use that on the Apple Watch, which I never will, have fun.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I like Macs. I'm just not. I just don't like the iOS platform. If I like Android. I used to like Windows.
I'm an Android phone.
I honestly did. I like the Android platform. I like the Symbian platform that Nokia used to have.
That's those vibrators, isn't it?
maybe
that's
yours.
Oh
I
wow,
love it.
you took it back. You took it back to pre Android, like the mid aughts.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like the now I like the Palm Pre.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was a fun
Palm
OS.
OS was pretty good, especially for its day. They just did not, unfortunately, have the vision that Apple and Android did. You know, for mass production, mass sales. You
Well,
know,
they were so bent on that slogan, the iPhone killer.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but in that same sense, you could like look at like the Dell Axioms. You know,
Mm-hmm.
from the handhelds in the same type of category. But yeah, like the Palm Trio was a really nice one. They just did not gain anything market side. Their marketing sucked.
Yeah.
They, I mean, because there's been, in my opinion, a lot of, um, uh, systems that are superior to iOS that just cannot get it out there to the masses, can't raise enough money to keep the development going strong. Like Symbian
Yeah.
with Nokia, iOS didn't and Android didn't overtake Symbian until like 2014 or something like that. After
Yeah.
Symbian had freaking died,
Yeah.
and that's how
Mhm.
big they were in Europe, but they never could break out of the European market. Like they just couldn't do it. Um, Windows Phone, it was really nice, smooth OS, but they couldn't gain any traction. Uh, and I do like Android, but I like Android versus iOS because I can still do a whole hell of a lot more on an Android system than I can on an iOS, even a jailbroken iOS. You know,
Mhm.
um, I can develop my own kernels. I can do all that stuff with Android. I can't do that with iOS, so that's why I still like Android more.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, and speaking of Android, the only thing I'm kind of disappointed right now with Android, and I hope this is not true, but I've been seeing leaks of the Pixel 4, and they're only going to have like 6 gigs of memory in that new Pixel 4, which bugs me because Android's memory management is terrible. Android's
Um,
memory management is terrible in the Pixels. Now, it may
Well,
be
well,
great.
oh,
no, I
okay.
mean it's getting
Uh,
better.
I was going to say, like, I think that also depends on the build. Like Pixels, yes, it's not the greatest, but it's getting
Yeah.
better. I know Darren and next nobody likes the phone I have, but I have the OnePlus, and I do like the OnePluses, and they modify it out just enough that I mean, my memory consumption is amazing.
Yeah,
Like I have zero issues with it. I
honestly,
love it.
6 gigs of RAM on a phone is quite a lot. I mean, there aren't many phones that have that much, let alone more.
I mean,
They
let me see here. Let me see here. There was
Galaxy S10 has 8.
yeah.
That's brand new. That's also like cutting edge. So that's really. And honestly, you have to check and see how they managed that 8, because like for example, the OnePlus, even though it has 6, it only locks like it only gives you like 3 at a time, because it basically divides it up amongst the applications
Well,
rather than give every application its own access. I believe.
And two, I gotta throw this out there. There's definitely a difference in users.
Yeah.
Me, whenever I'm done, pop. I kill apps. At very
Same.
most, I probably run 3 to 4 apps simultaneously.
Well,
Holy crap! I get on my wife's phone. There'll be 50 freaking apps open. And
Yeah.
granted, she's using iOS, but you know, like there is definitely a distinction between users too, and how you use a
Yeah.
phone.
Well, see, okay, for me, like I run like Discord, I run IRC consecutively because I
Yeah,
love IRC,
yeah,
in which is just text based.
yeah.
What else?
Now,
Of course.
are you running them like it's fully up,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
just like notification side, and then you open it once there's something new appearing? Like you run them up on your phone 100% of the time.
Yeah, they're up. When I'm especially like when I'm working.
Yeah.
So when I'm working, I leave it up because especially with like with the Pixel, I do the split screen. So
Yeah.
I leave it up. I have a split screen. But here's the thing: I'm not open. I don't have a browser open. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
You don't have a browser open, and I'm just using IRC. I'm using, of course, Outlook and Discord. And a lot of times now, if I open a browser, sometimes it gets a little weird, and then sometimes it's in the beginning. They've patched since applying this latest patch to the Pixel.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of the issues, but I mean, the memory management is not as good as I expected it to be at the moment. Now, it could be better in the Pixel 4, and the fact that it has, I was just curious, like with the RAM. Yeah, 6 gigs is a lot of RAM, but what concerns me is just like, okay, why not just put the whole 8 in there and just call it a day? You know, the new phone's coming out in October. Why not just have 8 gigs in there?
Well,
Why hold back on the 6? Go ahead.
well, I mean, like for example, the Librem 5 that's coming out right around the same time. It's also coming out in variants of 3 and 6. 3 is gonna be the light, and then 6 is gonna be the heavy. So, maybe they will eventually release an 8, and then they'll call it the 4S. Or whatever their second gen of that build's going to be.
Now, here's something interesting, and I was reading this today, and it's just a blog. It's bgr.com. They were like, "Did Google just copy the OnePlus with the new Pixel 4 launch strategy?" And I was like, I mean, it's kind of looking kind of similar based on how he was breaking it down, but. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just gotta, like I said, wait and see. I mean, now I will give the Pixel credit. The camera on this thing is amazing.
OnePlus.
On the Pixel, well, I haven't seen the OnePlus. How well do they take pictures? I mean,
the OnePlus normally smokes everything in regard to the cameras.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm impressed with the Pixel. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm really impressed.
I like the 3XL I got. Only downside to it, I've had it brick itself once, and I had to get a replacement.
Yeah. How do you like it now?
It's been good for me. I've had one time this one recently where it seemed to be brick, but then holding down the power buttons for a really, really long time undid it. But yeah, I generally like it. It's super fast. I mean, nothing ever seems to really bog it down.
Now, one thing I do, and speaking of just like Samsung stuff, I really, really love the Galaxy the Galaxy wireless earbuds. Oh my God. I went out one day and I just treated myself to some earbuds. These are my first earbuds, by the way. I've never used earbuds before. I always had headphones.
You're not on video, so we can't see your earbuds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I thought I was on video this whole time.
No, we've just been staring at you with your phone up to your head.
Oh, that's the Palm Pre, by the way, that I hacked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's your Palm Pre up to your head.
That I hacked many years ago. I don't know why I had that mean looking face. I think I was tired. So as you can see,
that's your gangsta face.
I guess. I don't know. But
that's as gangster as you get.
Okay. So as you can see, they fit right in your ear. And I'm actually talking to you guys through the Pixel right now. By the way,
wireless. Okay.
Yeah, 100% wireless. They fit right in your ear.
Did you have wired earbuds in the past?
No, I've never had. I had the wired. I had the wired ones that came with the Pixel. That was it. But before that, I always had like the big headphones.
Okay.
Yeah, but this, I mean, I'm talking to you guys pretty clear through these earbuds. I mean, they're amazing. And you configure them through the Galaxy Wearable app, and you can configure like 3 taps to just go back on the song, and 2 taps is to go forward. But here you can also configure it to where you can have the left bud to do the voice assistant. The right bud can turn down the volume. You can do all kinds of little fun stuff with it. And the feature I like is the ambient on and off. So the ambient on, it makes you alert of your surroundings. So the whatever's going on around you starts coming in a little bit clearer. Now, if you take ambient off, then you pretty much just kind of like zoned in on your music or whatever. So if somebody's talking around you, it kind of just drowns them out. But it's pretty cool. They were $110.
Oh, it's not
the
bad.
buds. I got them at Best Buy. So I was like, yeah, these are my first pair. I said, I'll try them out, see what all the buzz is about. But I fall in love with these things.
Dude.
And they have a wireless charger too. So
that is actually cool. I haven't heard of earbuds having wireless charging.
Yeah, this is a wireless charger. And you pop them in here. And then you close them out, and then they charge wirelessly.
Oh, well, there's a battery inside the case.
But here's the thing: if you have the Galaxy S10, which I don't, the Galaxy S10, if you sit it on top of the Galaxy S10, your earbuds will start charging.
Oh,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now that is actually wireless charging, and that's cool.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I just don't have a Galaxy S10 phone. If I did, I could just sit it on the back of my Galaxy S10 phone, and it'll wirelessly charge the earbuds.
I would never buy a Galaxy, but
no, me neither. But
I think you're getting a Galaxy S10.
But I have my little thing that I'm connecting to my little LED wires or whatever. So that's pretty cool. So yeah. But
okay.
I thought that was pretty cool though. But anyway,
So I do want to take it back real quick.
Yes, let's take it back.
The Raspberry Pi 4. Just because we were talking about memory, and you said screw it. If there's 6 gig, why don't we just take it to 8 gig? That is kind of my thing with the Raspberry Pi 4. Why are we still? Because if I could it's 64 bit.
Yeah.
Why
are they still restricting it to 4 gig? Like
price point. It's price point, form factor, and some other weird shit. It's the same reason why we're all stuck with dual HDMIs when really one HDMI would be good enough. And then if other people want that extra HDMI, then why not have them pay for it? Because we definitely don't need the dual HDMI.
So make it so the freaking memory is not soldered on. It's big enough now, that you can hold laptop RAM in there. Like I would love to buy a Pi and throw 2 8 gig sticks in it or whatever I can max it out to and get about, I don't know, 8 of them. And make a little cluster out of them and do like stupid shit on it. Like I could go ape crap on it,
Yeah.
But with 4 gig, if I go larger than 4 gig, then I could actually see that as something I could run like VMware on,
Now, I agree with that portion, but it's just like, what do you do?
That's why I'm not gonna buy it. If like I would, I have like Pi Zero for little stupid stuff, I'll get like little Pi's do nothing stuff, but I could actually do some decent computational items if they would expand the memory.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, you go.
No, all I was gonna say was that, and also too, if you're getting a Raspberry Pi 4, please, for the love of God, get you a heatsink and a CPU fan. My CPU fan is coming tomorrow, but this is my little heatsink that I've put on there already in the Pi 4. And all this is actually just going to be a pen test Dropbox, running the ARM version of BSD.
Did
wait a minute? You didn't get the
Yeah, Jack has one.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't get the case that I suggested?
Yeah, that's coming tomorrow.
I'm telling you, it's going to make a world of difference.
Yeah, that case.
Like Jack, to the point, you think he won't need a heatsink and fan?
No. That fan heat sink combo.
No, you need that.
Keep the temperatures down because
Yes.
there's no.
He's not doing anything without it. I mean, more power to you. Whoever feel like they can just run it without a heat sink and a fan, good luck. But I'm not
because
gonna do that.
it'll thermal lock real quick on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to run command? It's like, oh, what happened?
Why is this running so slow?
Why
Now,
is it not responding?
Is there anybody out there, and I'm sure there's somebody, but is there anybody out there who is, oh, well, there's no thermal paste on it anyway. Never mind. I was thinking, I'm thinking heat sink and thermal paste, but yeah, you'd still have to do the thermal paste. So never mind. Stupid thoughts.
What about the old Droid H2? You ever thought about that? The old Droid H2 box that supports up to 32 gigs of RAM.
What is the Odroid?
Check this
I
out.
actually have not seen this one.
Twitter. Hold up. I'm going to
single board computers. It's I believe generally they outpace. They're a little more expensive, my understanding, but they outpace Raspberry Pi as far as hardware.
Dude, there we go. Check it out. Woohoo! And this thing supports up to 32 gigs of RAM. You could put like DDR4 RAM in it, and you could put actual SSD drives in it. SSD modules. Excuse me.
And yeah, that heat sink's pretty sweet. The issue with that though is that it's $111. I'm gonna
but you gotta pay for it. Like Jack's saying, you gotta pay for you gotta pay for it somewhere.
But is that pre-memory or post?
No? That's the board.
Yeah, that's just the board. No memory whatsoever. Bare bones.
Exactly. That's bare bones.
But
and
still,
Raspberry Pi's including 4. I mean, granted, it's soldered, but it's still including 4 gig of RAM.
but look what you're getting here.
Half the price. And
but look what you're getting here with. Think about it with this board, right? With this board, okay, and trust me, like I said, I'm not an advocate for any of this stuff. I'm just looking at the big deal, the big picture deal here. Like something like this could be my next firewall.
Yeah, easily because it's definitely got the dual Ethernet ports, which would definitely retire my current box, even though I don't think it would run my current software solution.
It depends. I mean, it's all how you build it. Like if you're putting, because this thing supports DDR RAM, and I mean 250. There's a 250 gig SSD drive that it can support as well too.
Well, so no, I mean for the most part, my firewall solution loves the older hardware.
Okay. But like
so like if you try to throw bleeding edge hardware on there, it might work or it might not. It's just hit or miss.
Like perfect example, like when I'm planning on getting with this eventually, I'm actually looking at taking this, I'm not even put 32 gigs of RAM on it. I'm gonna put at least a hard solid 8 gigs of RAM, open BSD on it, with just PF only, no PF sets, none of that, just PF.
Yeah, I can see that definitely working out for you.
Yeah, and I mean, and just get a nice enclosure. Boom, there's my firewall. Because if you look out there are no open source hardware for making firewalls. It's non-existent since they discontinued the Socrates engineering board. There are no open source. There's no hardware allows you like with dual NICs and everything else for firewalls. It just isn't out there. This is the first thing I've seen in a long time. For those of you who are firewall makers and want to make your own little enclosure, I would say this is the way to go.
Yes, and I agree. Like for that sense, like this, what Charles posted is a perfect. Like if I would have known about this like 3 years ago before I made all my stuff, like I probably would have gone down this road. Because like you say, it's got the dual NIC, and the dual NIC for me is massive. But for somebody who wants to make clusters, things like that, Maybe not so much.
It'll be expensive. I'll put it that way. If you want to do clusters,
yes,
I wouldn't do it. But
because that's what I want to do. I want to have shared computing space. I want to do all those fun things. But yes.
So you're going to do that? Are you still interested in doing that with the Pi though, or are you just going to look at another solution?
Not currently until I can get more RAM, and that's what I'm hoping. Maybe Pi 5 or 4.5, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they are their own limitation, because they're soldering it on. Like once they X that out from a limitation, then yes, it's like go forward. I'm gonna start buying a shit ton of them.
But then, but I mean, once you go with a slot, well, where are you going to place it? And then that pretty much changes the form factor.
Oh, dude, it's going to be a cluster. If it's not going to be like one individual, it's going to be tons and tons of these things. I mean, because essentially, like people have made like quote unquote like mini supercomputers out of Pis, but they're not really, just because there's next to no memory on them. I want enough memory to fully sustain everything. I want to be able to have failover. I want to do all that shit. Like you could replace like VMware servers with Pis, if you can upgrade that. Yeah.
I mean, that would not be something I would do on a production network.
I mean, why not? Like it's 64-bit, you can install essentially as much storage as you want, and most likely you're only using them for the processing and the memory. Your data is most likely going to be going to a SAN, on a production network. If one of the Pis drops, you load balance it, it's going to the other Pis and distributing the processing memory out. You replace the Pi. Like, why not?
It's true.
Because have you ever tried using a Pi as a full-time from remote? And that's essentially what you're asking, even in a cluster configuration.
I mean, I've seen a stupid amount of things where they have 30, 40, 50 plus Pis all running full-time 24/7. They're making their little mini supercomputers and everything, but they end up getting 50 gig of processing speed, but they're still limited by their memory. But that's equal to supercomputers of even 5-6 years ago, but they're now doing it with Pis. But yes, that's my complaint with Pis. Sorry, it took 45 minutes to air.
No. But shifting gears a little bit. So a couple of days ago, a couple of me and my little like think tank, as I told you guys off air about everything. During my little think tank, I actually sat down and I started rereading, and I know this may sound crazy as
whoa, you can read? I wish I would have learned that in school, man.
So I actually started rereading the Web Application Hackers Handbook Volume 1 now, and I'll tell you why. As of late, like I said, I've been on a kick of an advocate for change, right?
Change of what?
Change into a truck.
Change of like.
I'm all about Transformers.
I
got like 10 over here.
I'm all about the avenue of change, whether it's been, as you guys know, through videos and everything, attitude, mental health, or whether it's just improving yourself on all different levels. It doesn't even have to just be tech. But in this case, as far as like with tech is concerned, like for like web security research, right? For example, a couple of buddies of mine, we're looking at like we've been doing like a vulnerability a day, meaning like today is Wednesday. We're only going to focus on cross-site scripting. Anything you can find related to cross-site scripting on the network. Cap! Anything you
Hey,
can
Cappy Cap's here.
anything you can find related to cross-site scripting for that day. And I mean, there's tons of information on it. There's tons of things that you can actually do and actually start solving a lot of the challenges. I mean, we're just starting to look at it from that standpoint. And the only way to get better with something, and I'm talking to the people out there who are like watching this video and maybe curious of getting started, or they're in a situation where they're looking for a career change, or they're in a situation where they've been in the field so long and they've lost their passion and they want to restart, because that's happened to all of us, I'm sure. And one way to really regain your fire and your passion is to go back to the beginning. So that's what I kind of did with web a little bit, because
back in
web
time.
Yeah, web testing can be boring. Let's be realistic. Web testing, if you've done it for a while, it can get boring.
I will say without a doubt it can get boring because at least in the consultant space, you're gonna find 9 times out of 10 low to maybe medium vulnerabilities with clients that you're testing if you're working at a firm. Now, if you're working at a bug bounty and spending like 3 months just to find one alert one, yeah, it's going to be really exciting, but you're spending 3 months out of that to do that. But you'll get more experience and more time the more applications you look at. So don't just stick on one. Is my 2 cents to add to that.
Yeah, agreed. And also, I think a healthy combination of bug bounty, CTFs, and just all around practicing with the vulnerable apps that are out there already, and you'll get a healthy mix of all three, and that will, I guarantee you, you'll gain so much knowledge just from those 3 exercises alone. It'll be insane. Again, and I'm just using web as an example. Just if you're not interested in web, look into like reverse engineering, or even better. And this is something that I've been, like I said, been working at too. Hacking Windows in general, because everybody knows OSCP. You don't deal with hacking Active Directory. Unfortunately, but I mean, maybe that'll change in the future. I don't know what their plans are, but you do want to really learn and understand it, because 90% of the 90% of the environments out there in the business world is Windows, and Active Directory is a part of the game.
Yes.
And the best way to learn it and earn it, reversal. The best way to earn it is to learn it, and the only way to do that is just jump in head first. And if you have a mentor, somebody that can really help you, I suggest just really pay attention. Forget what you know. Great, you got all the certifications, everything. Clear your mind. Shut up and listen. And you'd be surprised how much you soak up from people who's been doing it before you. I mean, that's just my advice for anyone out there who's maybe lost their fire and trying to get it back. And here's how you get it back. You go back to the beginning.
And to piggyback off of Charles just for a moment, that is really true in a vast majority of occupations, even if you're not in security, but especially in security, oftentimes, if you're pen testing, if you're a defender, you are doing the exact same thing day after day a lot, like the same exploit that worked on company A will oftentimes work on company B. There's not necessarily always that satisfaction of, hey, I just made something brand new, I was able to pop them. No, you use something that is already in your playbook. A lot of people will have that folder, especially if they're pen testers, have that folder on their desktop, like cool stuff, new stuff, whatever that you've tested in your lab, it works. It's potentially a 0 day, but you never get to use it because all the old crap always works, So try to get out, try to find something else, outside of the mundane, because your job at times will become mundane. Find something like, if you are not good on the dev side, try to research up and get a little bit better on the dev side. Caprico's one of the prime examples. Developers can very, 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 you suck, Caprico, turn over into pen testers. It is so easy for a dev to move over into pen testing. If you're somebody like me, who I'm amazing at scripting, I suck at development. I will make something work in any language, but it's going to be ugly. A developer will look at it and not believe that it works, but it will work. But it is a lot harder for somebody like me who is not a dev. But, brush up, try to bring some other skill in,
Here. And I want to plug this in here real quick.
Plug it. Like hair.
Programmers make much better hackers. That's just the way things go.
Yeah.
Now, whether you're a scripter or not.
Not always.
Yeah.
It depends.
Unless you start your own company.
And that's just me.
I'm just saying not always.
It really depends, because you can have. It depends on what we're defining the hacker as. Are we defining them as a consultant?
Pen tester.
A hacker. Web hackers.
Web.
Yes. Application hackers. Devs win hands down.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys already fully understand how that workflow for the languages work. You don't even there's nothing for that. Like us who are scripters at best, we have to go in, figure all that crap out, and then work down the line. You already you taught that, you were taught that, you learned that, that's kind of already ingrained in you. Yes, there is work you have to do, but it's not nearly as much as what we have to do, because you already know a lot of it.
So I agree in a general sense for the basic stuff. But when it comes down to individual applications, like you run into a Windows application versus a PHP application, there are so many different nuances that you can attack in a PHP one that don't transfer always to a ASP application, and vice versa. Like a lot of the older web applications that are out there are using older vulnerabilities, so you actually get a leg up in some more. My thing was, I didn't understand how XML worked. I had to learn how XML template injection works. I still don't know why it's being used on the back end, because I haven't built that.
Right.
And this is just another 2-cent thing, at least on the website. If you want to learn something and learn how to hack it, build first. Build something using it first. So if you have, say, my biggest thing for people to start looking at is, everyone and their mother has a JavaScript framework. Pick one, build something in it.
I don't.
Right. And hack it. Watch the hipster tutorial, build something in it, and then try to hack it, or try to break your own code so that you can leave a hack there.
Now, I just want to shout this out real quick. Congratulations to Jay on getting his OSCP. Shout out to that for the accomplishment. I'm sorry. I just had to shout that out. I just saw that on the chat. That is awesome news.
Congrats, Jay.
Yeah, congrats, man. That is awesome news. But definitely. I look at stuff like this when I run across something that I don't really understand, and I really want to hack it, and I really want to just tear it apart. Because remember, as hackers, it's a mindset. I don't care if you're a scripter. I don't care if you're whatever. It's a mindset. So if I see something that's never encountered before, the first thing I'm looking at is, one, to see what kind of security issues have been out there on the net about this particular application or whatever, right? Then once I see something, it's okay, cool. But I really want to know more about how it works if I have time. So again, with pen testing, it's time. Hacking, there is no time limit. With pen testing, you just got a time limit. But if you're actually just hacking, and that's the thing that I'm trying to do more of.
Well, too, it depends. With like some state sponsored stuff and everything, there can be a time limit in regard to hacking, and it may not be pen testing.
Well, I'm looking at it from a standpoint is like your home. Forget pen testing. Forget all the ad libs and the verbiage and everything else. You're just here as we're sitting here right now as a bunch of hackers. There's no time limit. We're just here, just talking about cool stuff, right? And we're saying, you know what? I want to hack this I want to hack this application. And okay, first I need to find out more about it. Like you're actually going through the trenches and finding out more about it. Let me see what kind of security issues it's had in the past. You look at that stuff, and then a lot of things that a lot of hackers miss, really don't pay attention to. The documentation. The documentation is that's the real go-to because that gives you the meat and the potatoes of how the application was designed. Yeah.
Look for default user creds.
yeah, default creds. But a lot of people miss the simple. They miss the obvious.
Yeah.
They do miss the obvious. But what motivates me every time, I know this is old as hell, like in war games, when he wants to play the video games and he starts going on the enumeration phase and that music starts playing. It's like the Transformer music. And he's like, when he yells at the other guy, he said, "Mr. Potato Head, backdoors are not tricks." Yeah. And he just says, find out everything that you can about Vulcan. And then the music just starts playing. You see him walking through the library. But it's just, I just put my head on his body, but I'm actually sitting at the keyboard and Google's your new library.
Nice.
When I'm looking for something. So, yeah.
And, I did want to throw out there too, if you're attacking something and you are not able to find any public exploits, you haven't figured out an exploit of your own, what are you going to end up looking at? Devs talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm really, like, my son is going to be brought up with a dev mind frame, which I wasn't, just because of that. Or actually not just my son, like all my kids. Because I'm honestly hoping all my kids become hackers too. Whether it be, my wife is going to be having kids until she's like 75. But calm down, Cappy. But
it's been a long day. It's not going to take much.
Oh my God.
But whenever you exhaust certain resources, it eventually gets back to looking at developers talking, looking at source code, looking at things like that, being able to read through the source code, understand it. If especially if you're new, like if you are well tempered in the industry, you've been reverse engineering for years, like screw it. Like you probably have a development background, honestly. And you get the pointers, you get everything in regard to reverse engineering. But if you're not there, try. I always encourage people, try to like get some dev skills. Honestly, I could program anything in C. Like I did it for years and years. And
so you are a programmer.
I can program certain things. It's nice that Python, downgrades stuff to C. It's awesome, and I can script in Python. I can actually develop in C. I can script in Python, but there are people doing. I am not a .NET developer.
Me neither.
At all. .NET is actually pretty cool now. You can use it on iOS, or you can use it on Mac OS. You can use it on Windows. You can use it on Linux. Like, it's nice. And Python's similar. You can use it cross-platform. But I'm a scripter. I am not a dev. But devs who actually have that kind of real dev understanding make way better hackers than me. You know,
Well-
I can do stuff, but I'm not as good, or at least not as quick.
Well, I mean, here's the funny thing. Like, I cannot write code in Python to save my life. But if you told me to write it in Perl, it's all weak.
Hey, you laugh, but Pearl is still rocking.
know your skill set for sure.
Yeah. And
Two
see,
things.
I can
Oh.
script in Perl. I'm not going to dev anything in Perl, but I can script it out. I can script, you know, I've done 1,000 PowerShell scripts, but I'm not going to develop and actually make something somebody else would ever use in PowerShell. But
You never know. They might.
I can make something like on the defense, whenever I was defense, you know, 100% of the time, I had probably 80 to 100 different PowerShell scripts that I used, you know, on a consistent basis. You know, I made a PowerShell script to deploy software to my entire organization at one point, just because the software platform went down and we had an immediate need. And so, I mean, it took me about an hour and a half, but I made something that essentially, you know, wormed its way through and kept replicating itself out and eventually installed all the software on all the endpoints. But still not a dev.
Yeah.
100% not
also,
a dev.
too, as hackers, we really need to improve our communication skills. Report writing.
Yes.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty as well. But what's helped me get better with report writing is Hack the Box, oddly enough. So with Hack the Box, what I do, I treat it like a real pen test. So if say you get like root and user on one box, I usually try to just stop and actually write a report as if I was writing to a customer.
Hey, Charles, do you have any like boilerplate reports out? Not you, but do you know of any boilerplate reports out there that you think are pretty good reports?
OSCP is one.
I started out, I just used the offset as a template, and it just kind of modify and have people rip it apart and say that shit sucks.
Okay.
Other companies, are going to have their own like flavor of it, but the general mode stays the same. I would, at least from what I've seen.
Right.
Two quick things to piggyback off of what Israel's saying, where you pick up and learn different techs. Two that I would look at is .NET, because .NET has gone and C# has gone open source, and now that's running on everything.
Yeah.
Additionally, ByteBleeder, who wrote the he's written CME. He's worked on Empire, and he's got a new tool out now called Silent Trinity. And what Silent Trinity is it's Python that compiles together agents into .NET Core objects, which then can run inside the memory space. It doesn't create, and at the process level, to then run all of your like your shells back. So you get RCE via .NET Core and code injection into PowerShell.
I'm looking at this right now.
Yeah. Another, and the second thing that I would say to do, and this will help you both in defending or defense development and attacking, is learn Git. Because learn Git, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna suck, but then eventually you're gonna be like, this is awesome, because you can use it to both make yourself a better developer. You can use it to say if you have rollback. You say if you have a web application that gets taken over and some anonymous wannabe defaces it and puts, I don't know, something bad on it. you can use Git to just refresh the entire instance in the code with one command, and your defacement's gone. Now, granted, you want to be able to see where that is, but you can even just branch off of. You could save that and branch off of that, and then go back to your normal code, and then you can analyze that code from that Git branch tag or whatever you want to do with that. Another thing on the attacking side with Git, if you get onto a box,
Get onto a box. Get.
Yep, if you get onto a box and you find source code, 9 times out of 10, I will guarantee you that in someone's commits, there is a database password or a hard-coded developer password hidden within that application.
Hey, Komodo. We talked about Komodo tonight. They had.
You know what? It's an all-star lineup tonight.
Yeah, they had creds in their Git.
Yeah. Don't look up in google.env.
Jason, they have PowerShell for Kali Linux, sir.
Yes, they do. And
yep, I use it.
Amazing.
Yes. I use it. Hold on, PowerShell.
And I did want to throw one more item out there. I don't think any of us have said it. Learn at least one language. Learn it really well. Like for me, it was C. It was 1,000 years ago, but learn one language very well. The more visually oriented language is okay. That's cool, but learn structures, learn, kind of the enumeration, like how code works, but learn one really well. And then at minimum, you will be able to script, not necessarily develop, but script with any other language.
And I want to, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, and that's got me by for a very long time.
Also, I want to put this out here, folks. Ruby is not going to die anytime soon. Everybody relax.
Because it's on Rails.
Well, I mean, if you listen to devs talk, they say that that's one of the ones that's supposed to be going out. But
okay.
They said the same thing about Visual Basics.
They said thing about Perl 6. Oops. Yeah.
It's like a love-hate relationship from what I've heard, but I also haven't done a whole lot in Ruby other than run Metasploit and set up the dependencies and all of that stuff, which is already a pain in the butt, but that is how dependencies roll.
Don't remind me, beef.
Oh my God, no.
Wait. You got a beef with beef?
Man, I don't have a beef with beef. It's just not my.
With beef.
Listen, it's not my favorite application right now because I'm trying to make it work in SecBSD. So, and I'm like,
Yeah. How's your porting been going?
It's going. It's been quiet for a second.
Yeah.
Because with everything going on. Because with everything going on and whatnot. So, as I said before, we are putting an ISO together. So we're getting that out. Supposed to be by the end of this month.
Time.
Yeah. I know it's been slow. It's been slow for a lot of us.
So how many point people do you have on this project? About
it's only 7 of us all together. That's it.
But I mean, for from conception to now, I mean, 7 people. That's that's a hell of a
you've been
job.
going for what, about 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, around 6 months. So I mean, and people have been porting like because we got one person who's been porting like crazy. I think that's all they do right now is SecBSD.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Charles was like, someday I'm going to get paid.
Someday.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I just like the pay part. I'm just like, I just want to keep it open source status quo. I don't want to do the pay. I do the pay for other stuff like real life stuff, but open source stuff. No, I'd rather keep it how it is. As you know me, just trying to. I just, because once you get into the pay stuff, then you got board of directors and all this other stuff, and it freaks me out.
Why does that freak you out? I mean, it's not like you're going to be doing anything dirty, such as charge charges to the game in Vegas, for lap dances and shit, and
hey man,
fucked it up as business expenses.
Oh my goodness,
he's not going to DEFCON this year. What you talking about?
I ain't going. My the people I used to work with are going.
Oh.
Mm.
Hey,
Charles, subsidizing $20,000 in losses at a dice table to to business expenses.
Jack, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it happens.
I'll tell you who that was after
yeah, we're telling that. Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
Charles, not only I just want to throw it out here, not only are you my hero, but Jason also said that you are his hero too.
Oh, so, Jason, thank you. Well, I'm glad I can always help someone.
Yes. off a cliff, over a cliff, either way, it could be.
Jeez, off a cliff? I want to be off a cliff.
I don't know. Maybe a base jumper. Come on.
No, I don't like this off the cliff stuff.
Jump in, man. The water's fine.
I'm feeling great today. Fresh baldy, so I'm feeling. I feel like a human being again.
I was gonna say you look pretty, fairly clean. Like you should.
I'm glowing, right? I am glowing a little bit.
Yeah. You should almost wax that thing up.
Man, I don't want to put no vitamin E oil.
I don't know.
You might put it on there.
I may get a sunburn off of it.
Mm-hmm. I still, but you know what? It felt good today. I went to the Starbucks. To get one morning coffee.
Wait, whoa! You went to Starbucks? I can't. I can't fathom this.
I know,
you?
Right? Yeah. So I went to the Starbucks, and this lady was like, "Oh, so, I'm sorry to cut the line." I said, "No, you're fine." She said, "I know you got to get back to. I know you're still trying to enjoy your summer vacation. Get ready to go back to college." I'm like, "No, ma'am. I'm actually out of college." Really? I say, "Yeah, I'm almost 40." Get the hell out of here. I'm like, I'm almost 40.
Did she card you for your Starbucks?
No, she didn't card me. Oh. No, there was a lady in line. It was a lady in line, actually. She thought I was on summer vacation. But I did have one at a Mega Man t-shirt, so I did kind of, I guess, blend in a little bit. So it was like, she's like, "You're 40?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm almost 40. I'm 39.
Wait, so were you going to Starbucks in DC?
No. I live around the corner from a Starbucks and a GameStop.
Do people go on vacation? Do people vacation in your area?
I think they do. I don't know.
I mean, because you will never ever. Let's see.
But see, I don't leave Fairfax unless I really
absolutely have to.
I'm going somewhere. Yeah. I don't leave Fairfax County. Now, only time I really go to DC if it's an event or it's a ShmooCon or something like that. But otherwise, I kind of stay out of DC because it's too much drama.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was asking, just because I didn't figure there were probably that many vacationers there. I think she really liked that freshly shaven head of yours.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think maybe she wanted to rub it, make a wish and see if
you can't rub this. This only for the missus. Only the missus can rub. Only the missus can rub. Nobody else can rub.
Oh no, you better cover that thing up at DerbyCon. I have a mission.
Dub.
No mission.
I am on a mission from God.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, she's Like, oh my God, you going back to college after this? I'm like, oh no, I'm way out of college. Try a decade.
Charles is going to be outshining Mr. Clean by the time we're done with him at DerbyCon.
Oh my
So
goodness.
wow. That's what you get. I get looks like you fucking thug. What the fuck you doing in here trying to get coffee?
That's because
Oh
you have
damn.
resting bitch face.
What?
That's because you have resting bitch face or resting I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yes, it's automatic.
He said it's automatic.
Yeah, Jack, you just need to smile once in a while.
No, I do not need to smile.
Sure, smiling,
So-
is like sharing, which then is caring.
So I guess I don't know. I guess they don't see me as a threat. Maybe I don't know.
See, that's the fun part. Whenever
I don't know. I guess.
you kind of, especially from a pen test perspective, if you're doing an on-site and stuff,
Mhm.
and people don't see you as a threat, that's why like looking normal or weird or like that's the expectation for organizations. Like they don't expect like GQ the front of GQ magazine to walk in, type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
well, I mean, they expect a pen tester, a hacker, to kind of have a certain look,
No.
Nah, no. Sometimes yes.
Who are you thinking? Because I'm talking about receptionists, people
Right.
out smoking a cigarette, tailgating in with the finance group, like who are you referring to if not?
Well, like what people think a normal what a quote unquote hacker looks like is usually what they're looking for. However, there are cases where they want Tom Cruise and they get Cappy.
Or they're looking out for Cappy, but then there's me clean shaven, low haircut, buying everybody drinks at the bar, just being nice and friendly, and they're spilling their secrets.
And there are RFID tags.
Yeah.
Or I guess then there's fun guy Chuck who just, hey, how's it going, everybody? So tell me about that Windows server you're having problems with.
No, you don't drop it like that. you gotta ease them. You gotta ease them into it. You gotta let the liquor flow, and then they'll say, "You know what really pisses me off?" And then
I've seen people. I've had people that just complain about their they hate upgrades. I'm like, oh, what you upgrading to? Windows 2012. It just sucks. Oh, well, what issues are you having with it? Did you apply? Just kind of finesse it a little bit.
Yeah, and sometimes alcohol helps that social lubricant come out.
Alcohol and lube, dangerous combination.
Whoa! How did we step into the lube?
I don't know.
Territory.
No, I'm just saying alcohol is a social lubricant.
Yeah, it is.
From the lubrication perspective, yes.
Yeah, it gets you. Never mind. It just Hey, Liz! First time. What's up, man?
Shalom. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Can't complain.
Happy wonderful Wednesday.
It is a beautiful Wednesday.
All right.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this day has just been awesome.
Yeah. Kokio said, they don't expect an attacker to be hammered. That is a good point. But in the same sense, if you're hammered walking into an engagement,
something's wrong.
They may think you are an employee and send you right back out the door.
Been there, done that. Was going to the server room.
Yeah.
I'm on video. What's that?
Yeah, and always remember HVAC systems, firing. Oh.
Come here.
Crap, I can't see her.
I'll show you. She's coming.
She's not going for the lotion, is she?
You're on video.
So when is the little one going to get a little brother or a little sister?
Exactly.
Never.
Hey.
Say hey.
Hi. Hey, are you a little? You can't hear us, but are you a little hacker in training? She. Uh-oh. Jack, did you hear that?
Yeah.
She just said that Papa was a snitch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like no
Man.
little brother.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mother was saying the exact same thing.
Mama.
Yeah, she's a little chatterbox just like mine.
Yeah. She's excited.
Oh.
Hey, wave.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can't exactly laugh. But yeah. Oh. So, no. Here's Mega Man. There you go.
Yeah. Get on the Mega Man.
Yes. Yeah, as long as you don't get a hold of something else. Oh, God.
Yeah.
God, she's got the license.
Yeah. I'm never living that down.
Nope, you aren't.
Nope, it is clipped and on my YouTube channel.
Oh my God! The stuff you do lot. What's that? Anyway, thank you.
It's just a dagger. Don't worry about it, Dad.
No, it's not a dagger. No, she's safe. Just don't break it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So, for me, it's grumpy time. I will be back on later.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you
Later.
Yep.
All right.
But yeah, as Caprico can attest to, if you are a pen tester and you have worked within an environment, an IT environment in the past, go back, start to think about some of the different people who came in, who were allowed access into sensitive areas. Your HVAC guys, the fire guys, electrical.
I was going to pull up electrical.
Physical security guys.
Yeah, physical security.
I mean, like your security guards and the like.
Yep.
Yeah, physical as well as like video.
ISP.
Yeah.
If you can come in pretensing an ISP,
Yes.
that works well.
Yeah, I've actually worked at a location that had a ISP drop that was for like a 2-block radius. Like their central hub was within our facility, and so if you can gain that data, you can go in and emulate one of those employees, and you don't even have to get the badge or anything exactly right. And 99.9% of the time, they're not going to call and validate it. Who else? Auditors.
If you go in and pretense a wireless technician, there's always issues with the wireless network.
That can get a little iffy, but
iffy,
in some organizations, yes.
Yeah, iffy, but it usually will work in my team's experience.
Yeah.
Or the team I'm on. It's not my team.
Yeah. And oftentimes you'll be able to run diagnostics and be able to go in through there. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways, as well, as long as you research the company well enough. That includes anything social media, LinkedIn, former employees. Set your stuff to private so nobody's seeing it's you on LinkedIn, and then researching former employees. because a lot of, especially security systems network, will just regurgitate everything they did at the previous organization. And a lot of you watching already know this, but anybody new who's new into the field, security field, if you were to look at mine for the last, my current company and one company prior, always, I do not put in any products that I supported or worked on. Now, if and when I move to my next company, then I'll go back to the second company back, put that information in. Because for me, I don't move companies often. And, hopefully they have improved their systems since I left and defenses. And that's kind of the expectation of all companies. But I don't do any current or previous. But the vast majority of people do not go by that type of mindset. And you can just gain so much information off of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Fun. Okay, let's hit the next one. So, not going to go fully through the bulletin of the week. This put out by US CERT. As usual, a lot of comparable stuff in here. Check it out. It's on the show notes. Check it out for just all the different things US CERT is putting as, criticals you want to address immediately. I'd say criticals and high, try to get a change order in, address those immediately. Everything else, update accordingly, per your policies. But quite a bit of stuff in there this week. Try to get through it. And two, that's the thing. Try to get, at very minimum, a monthly, monthly service window in for your servers and critical systems if you don't have one already. Depending upon the size of your environment and your influence, that may be difficult, but at very minimum monthly. Server patching should be an ongoing process. Do test, test out into a test environment or patch out into a test environment and then get your production stuff patched. I still consistently see environments that do not even have a test environment and they run 3 months behind on production patching with zero test, environment. Get a test environment built out, build out a business case for it, get the gear if need be, if you don't already have it and don't have extra, but get a test environment built out, test the stuff, and then send it to production. Keep stuff patched. Endpoints, screw them. Patch the shit out of them. Unless you have something business critical running on an endpoint, which is very rare. Almost everything is server side with a lightweight application to access server. Patch your endpoints. But yeah, get your stuff patched up, as well as network. Network guys hate patching. That's why you want to have that monthly patch window. Make sure your network devices are getting patched. They're consistently Cisco. Palo's had stuff. Juniper, Aruba, whoever you can think of.
VxWorks.
Yeah, VxWorks. Yeah, massive stuff over the last like 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, they're fully comparable. Yeah, get the network side patched. I've been in environments in the past where, like, everybody's so proud. Our main firewall's been up for 2 years straight. Well, that means that you haven't patched shit on it. Congratulations, you're vulnerable. Yeah, patch the network side too. It should be of as high importance as your systems. What were you going to say, Jack?
Oh, I was going to say, well, if your quote unquote firewall, if your firewall has been up for 2 years, that's not your firewall.
Yeah, somebody's pwned it, and somebody owns that firewall.
That is literally the gateway. That is it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if anything should be highly patched, it should be the fucking firewall.
Yeah. And
That's
all
the first thing you're going to hit as a penetration tester or as an attacker. That's the first thing that they're going to hit. So
yeah, and the vast majority, or I mean, almost all organizations, not all, but almost, the network is the last thing that gets touched. That should be a priority. I have never met a network guy who wants to patch, ever. And in today's day and age, that should not be an issue unless you're running 20-year-old gear. Back 15 years ago when I was doing it, patching was a pain in the ass. Upgrading iOS on Cisco was a massive pain in the ass. Oftentimes, you did not have enough RAM available to do an upgrade, and you had to X out the previous build, throw a new one on there, and hope that your backups were great. Configure it out to the point you could SFTP to it, or back in the day, FTP to it. Upload your old config onto the new build. But in today's day and age, they throw enough memory on there, enough space, that you can do a streamlined patching process, upgrades, everything. So patch your shit. There's no excuse anymore. Used to was pain in the ass. Today's day and age, it's freaking easy.
Or my personal favorite, where you're doing it across country and then that fucking switch goes down and does not come back up.
Well, yeah, and that's why you like
redundant
the uplinks. Well, you were upgrading the switch or feeding through the switch to another end device.
No, that was doing a remote upgrade. That was like
to that switch.
Yeah,
and there are instances where that will happen. Yeah, definitely not gonna throw that out.
But no, I mean that was always no problem. Nowadays you can call somebody and say, "Hey, could you pull the power plug from this switch bank right here and plug it back in and walk away, and then it'll come back up and you start over."
Yeah, or a lot of at least enterprise, mid-sized to full-blown enterprise, have contracts in place where if your switch is in somebody else's data center or even on-site support, you can have somebody else go in. I used to have issues with India. Things did not translate well. We'll say that. And thankfully, I had a third party who we authorized to go into the location. Again, that could have been a security risk. Somebody could have emulated them or impersonated them and probably been able to go straight in. But as a contractor, we did have them, the ability to have them go in and do basic networking tasks just because nobody within the facility could. And there's a lot more options today than there used to be. And the price honestly isn't, I mean, there's still a price attached to it, but it's nothing like it used to be back in the day when there were only like 4 or 5 companies out there doing it. Now there's just a stupid amount of companies doing it, and scale of economy, price has to come down. So if they want to get business and or keep it. Okay, we're getting close to the end. So other stuff. Citrix breach from last year. So we talked about on the cast last year. But whenever Citrix was breached, apparently it ended up just being a password spray. Was how the attacker got into internal Citrix systems.
So fall 2018.
Yeah, that's sad.
Dime a dozen, but it's still sad.
Yeah. Let's see. Between October 28th. Yeah, so fall. Oh, yeah. Is that what you said? Fall 2018. I'm thinking maybe it was fall 2018 exclamation point. Really complexing it up. Oh, wait, does it actually say in the article fall 2018?
I have no idea. I literally thought about when we talked about it, and I'm like, I think that was like right before. It was either right before or right after DerbyCon, and that would have been either you're hitting them with summer 2018 because the quarter hasn't ended,
Exactly. Yep.
or you're hitting them with fall. Well, no, I'd take that back. Wait, 7, 8.
Well,
It
I
would
mean,
be fall. It
the
would be
attacker.
fall 2018.
Well, but the 90 days though.
Yeah, it would have been September. Would have been the rollover. So you either had people doing one of 3 things. You either have them going one back to summer 2018,
Exactly.
fall 2018, or winter 2018.
Yeah.
Um,
And nobody is going to lock. Well, maybe a couple, but very few are going to lock out on 2. Some will lock out on 3, and then most between like 3 to 4 invalid password attempts.
Yep.
Hey, there's a dog. So, yeah, I went on mute very quick to yell. But yeah, your password policies normally will be 90 days, 3 to 4 invalid attempt lockout. Was somebody talking? Okay, maybe that was Jack while he's playing a game. But yeah, most will lock out on 3 to 4 attempts. Oftentimes, there's a lot of web-based stuff that essentially has an unlimited amount. I mean, some thankfully are starting to do password lockouts, but it's still going to be for a set amount of time. Normally 15 to 30 minutes. But yeah, I can only imagine and expect that it was probably summer or fall 2018 and or summer or fall 2018 exclamation point, or I hate Citrix. Yeah, something like that.
I hate my life. I love Citrix. Citrix 2018 exclamation point.
Yeah.
Citrix, but the eyes are ones exclamation point.
Yeah, depend upon length. And that's another thing. Like within your environments, 8-character passwords can be reversed. Like if they get the hashes fairly quickly. I used to run a 1080 dual setup, so dual 1080s, and then I could do 8-character in, I think it was about 20 minutes. 9 characters was an hour for NTLM v2. So yeah, I mean, 8-9 characters is like, if somebody is able to get the hash, that's not even. I mean, that's pointless.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was your character set that you were using? Were you going with upper lower symbol number, or upper lower number, or just upper lower?
Yeah, that was upper lower symbol number.
Okay.
Like, yeah, the full blown gambit. So okay. Yeah, and if you lessen that down to just say upper lower number, I mean, it's stupid. Like 9 characters, you can pop 19 characters in 5 minutes. Like, it's stupid fast. Just scale. But yeah, I mean, some of these, and 2 in today's day and age, like once you get one pass or one hash, especially if it's like a DA and EA hash, like screw it, you just rent out space on Amazon, for video cards, and you can add as many video cards. And what's it worth to the company? You as a pen tester, it's worth to your company as a pen test to complete the test and be able to get it. I mean, you can get 15, 16 character passes in under 2 days. Like, if you rent out enough, and say you spend $1,000 to crack a hash, I mean, you're talking probably 60 plus video cards at that point that you have full access, maybe even more, full access to for $1,000 for a couple days. And you can get up into the 14 to 16 character range. I mean, you can get really, really high with that much processing power. I've seen a couple studies out there, some people who actually rented out that many, because, somebody like, I'm not going to spend $2,000 to crack a hash, but whenever you're pen testing that, and say you're going after, you're spending 100 plus K on a pen test, you're a large large scale enterprise organization, and you're actually putting up the money for a good pen test. Yeah, I mean, because attackers, actual hackers, black hats, they're gonna do it if they want to really get into your organization. They're able to find a hash, and especially a good hash. They're gonna pwn up the money to get that space or get those video cards and get it chugging along. And
especially if there's some crown jewels and there's a fucking bounty on it.
well, yeah, well, you mean like a bounty from like a white hat perspective, or
No, like there's somebody who says, "Hey, if you can get this data for us, we'll pay you."
oh yeah, for hires, yeah, exactly. And if the contract, is whoever gets it, 200K, 500, whatever the amount may be, and you spend 10 grand to pop it, yeah, that's gonna be worthwhile in the end. So it's out there, it's available. It actually works really well. So, can you brute force a 14 lowercase plus uppercase plus numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look up in Hashcat. There's something called mask attacks. So you can basically tell it what the length is. So you can basically give it a pattern that you want to find. So say it's uppercase, lowercase until like number symbol or something like that. You can give it a pattern like that to kind of get some initial brute forcing
for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Yeah,
and honestly, on all the stuff I do, I either take the maximum or 50. So if their maximum is past 50, I do 50 as my default for passwords. I use password manager on everything, and I have 50 characters on everything unless they restrict me to something lower. If they restrict me to something lower, I do the maximum of whatever they restrict me to.
Yep.
But length always wins out over complexity. I mean, because complexity is just a pain in the ass. People write it down, they don't remember it, and most people.
Passphrase is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, length by far is better, especially.
You a size queen?
Say it again.
Are you a size queen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, size definitely matters. Because even with what's NIS? NIS is still on like 8 characters, right? Or did they ever up that?
I think they upped it.
I mean, I know they said they were going to, but I've never seen actually anything official. But 8 characters, it doesn't matter if you have complexity or not. That's going to get hit.
NIS upped it.
To what? Probably like 12 or 13.
I got a question at a job interview recently about which one of these is a better password. And I think I've impressed the interviewer by saying, well, this particular one you have here is less than 14 characters, which means if it ever got stored as an LM hash, it would be relatively easy to crack.
Yeah. Because essentially it's 2 sets of 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, I mean, LM hashes are just a joke in today's day and age. If you still enable it and allow it within your environment, stop.
Here's the thing about that. My understanding, it seems to be forward compatible. Like if someone set up a domain while, let's say, on Windows 2000, my understanding that still carries forward.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
yes,
you have to go. Yeah, correct. Yeah, you have to go in and disable it specifically. So, and that is a good point. Make sure, like, if you have upgraded your domain, make sure you upgrade your domain. I understand there's compatibility issues here and there. Throw that system off into a separate domain, do firewall rules, segment it. If it is no longer supported by the manufacturer, I mean, because that happens in manufacturing. I mean, like organizations may not want to pay for the upgrades. The upgrades make.
You can find null sessions out there. Shit.
Yeah, I mean to upgrade it. for manufacturing facility, on some of these very high availability production systems, it may cost 70 to 100 grand to upgrade it, and they don't want to do that. So, but you still have to secure it. You still need to secure your primary domain. Like, throw that thing off. Make a relationship between the domains, firewall the shit out of it, segment it, and let it live its life and die in a fire over there, but still secure your main domain. Or secondaries and tertiaries and all the. I used to work within, I think, like 8 domains, including like test domain and everything else, and dev domain. So, yeah. Get that old crap out that you can't upgrade. Still make it functional, but get it out from a security perspective.
Replacements might sometimes even be cheaper than trying to upgrade. It's a might, but it's something to look into. If there's a product that you've been using that has to get upgraded, but can maybe be compatible with your guy, if we're keeping the manufacturing space, your guys' gear still. Oftentimes looking and seeing if even the company might have upgrade or made a new product that does the same thing and more, so that you get benefits for it, and they're constantly working on it as well.
If that is the case, that's like excellent. Rare, but definitely look into that. But there are definitely times where, man, I'm trying to think, like Gerber makes like industrial machines and things like that. Yes, you need to stop writing those down. Get a password manager. But like Gerber and a lot of these other companies make these industrial machines that talk to a controller, and the controller is just some server with their, own software on it. And some of these companies go out of business. And so the businesses are left with, up to, well, dependent upon the company, it could be millions of dollars worth of equipment that now has to have that controller. So you make sure you have good backups of that controller in case something hardware side occurs, so you can, still use it. But there's no way you can necessarily always be able to upgrade the controller. So, there are cases where you have to do that. And, for companies where that exists, you have to do that. Don't leave that in with your regular domain. Segment that crap off. But like Cappy said, if there is an avenue, a competitor, a whoever that you can, install that software, their competitive software, and it will work with those industrial machines, like, do that. Because I've been in quite a few environments where upgrades were not possible. And it's unfortunate, because at times there will be millions upon millions of dollars worth of equipment, that need to talk to that controller. Nice for a pen test, especially if it's still on the regular company domain.
Oh, God. Another thing that I forgot to mention, don't just patch your network. Freaking subnet it. Like, segregate it.
Yeah, segregate it, segment it, ACL it. Yeah.
Like, your domain controller or your random workstation that gets plugged into your normal domain network that has its own DC and whatever should not be able to ping any sort of industrial control system. That should be on its own network, or at least having access control lists stating which devices can hit what, and only those devices can hit what on which port, so that if that device does get taken over, there's very little in terms of the network side that you can do to even like change stuff. Now, if you get onto like a router or a firewall, you're still screwed because then they could just put in a new policy. But the policy would probably break something, and you would probably be alerted by that. Or hopefully, that's the hope.
Yeah. But too oftentimes, even if they have a firewall in there, they're still going to have some type of route, oftentimes, for management. So from a break it in perspective, even if you are there, oftentimes there will still be some route for management capabilities.
Let's put it this way: and here's something to also consider, and I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. But if I'm an attacker or a penetration tester, and I'm looking at your industrial control systems, I've already gotten everything else, or I'm on last resort. You have a bigger problem in not detecting me until then.
Yeah, if they're deep enough in your ICS network to actually be hitting your actual ICS gear, you've already been several layers owned.
Unless they physically came in, through a hub in and are working off that,
Or you have your ICS gear talking externally to the internet.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Like 99%, the vast majority of the time, ICS does not need to talk to the internet. So, and if it does need to talk to the internet, like just make sure it's routed appropriately, that it only talks to the IP address, and the IP address, is routed through to only talk to it, in the WAN. Don't do any's out and any's in. Get specific.
Yeah, although maybe it's my ignorance of ICS networks, but at what point would you ever want the ICS anything to actually be directly communicating with the internet?
There are some ICS now, I know one for Ford and other companies that utilize this product. It is web-based, and so the ICS talks straight through to the web servers, from this third party. And that's just one example I know of. I'm sure there's a lot more, but that's why you also, and they're not going to have just one IP address. They're going to have a subnet, a range, put that specific range in there. If they want to say, just open it up so they can talk out, no. Make them give you what their range of IPs are. Or you don't do business with them. And the business will fight you on this, I guarantee it. But make them give you a range of IPs that are their web servers that your gear needs to communicate with, if you have to go down that route. Or proxy it. I mean, you can, although some of them don't like proxies, but if you can proxy, you can also proxy through it.
Yeah, that really, I don't know, man. I'm just mentally picturing Profinet going over the internet, and it's just, yeah. Or Modbus.
Oh, so Jason, you're asking any recommendations for Linux system password? DistroTube or Luke Smith had a tutorial on CLI password manager for Bash, but it looked like pain to use. Dude, any password manager in Bash is going to be a pain to use. Honestly, LastPass had issues a few years back. They have corrected those, but I use LastPass on everything. But that's what I use. Anybody got anything Jason, are you asking specifically for a CLI password manager? Does anybody in here know of a CLI based password manager? I just see that as a pain in the ass.
Only by being around developers who were like, I'm going to do everything command line, and that was something that they put in. the time for. But
Mass assist.
wasn't me.
Good night.
No, look around for a couple different options. Even if there's a the one I use is KeyPass, and I use KeyPass and LastPass. But that is a personal preference. But on the CLI side, I haven't delved deep into that yet.
Oh, okay. So you may not have to have CLI based. So Jason said just something to make a secure Linux system password for SSH.
Oh, yeah. So like, get something that is, like, this is why I like KeyPass. KeyPass is it creates an encrypted database of passwords, and you have to open it with a master key, just like LastPass. But it's a file that is saved to your machine, and that would be something that you could even back up to another server with that same key, or key, like master key or your master password, something like that.
That's right. Fun, fun, fun for everyone.
And you can generate super long passwords through it. It's got all the bells and whistles.
Well, there you go. Anybody got anything else for tonight?
No.
Oh, hey, Illustrious. I didn't notice you jumped on. Unmute if you're talking. Or maybe you're not listening.
Well, if we don't have nothing else for tonight, I guess we can call it quits and then go to our offline. And might want to. Jason's been a regular viewer for a while. Might want to invite him on the next one. He just has to remind me sometime a little bit before the cast, and I can send him the link.
Yeah, Jason. Don't when you are outside. Kokio said, "Don't type your passwords when you are outside. There are cameras everywhere."
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking maybe you're in the UK, but yes, I copy and paste the vast majority of the time. So,
well, I know from experiences that in the UK cameras aren't everywhere because they didn't capture.
oh, was that night when you were running naked through the streets?
I was not running naked. Now, yeah, I just remember a video that someone had left behind for me, and it was this guy that was walking around London butt naked except for his socks. And
wait, were the socks on his feet, or did he reappropriate them?
Stop.
No, they were on his feet, and he
was
okay. And he was walking, and the guys were following him, and they were just cracking jokes on him the whole time.
I mean, Charles just posted something the other day of some woman. She was walking buck-ass naked down the street. I think in Louisiana, maybe it was. But yeah. Oh no, maybe it's. I don't remember where it was. But yeah, just bum 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 bum, walking on down.
That reminds me of a story of my buddy Rob. If you have that idea, my buddy Rob, his two most famous quotes that get passed around is "I'd suck a fart out of her ass and hold it like a bong hit, and I'd eat my way to her ovaries." Rob's an interesting individual. If you ever come to Southern Indiana and I can get him out to an event, he's not an infosec. He's a librarian, actually. Yeah,
he's got.
Back when Red Hot Chili Peppers was hot, apparently one of the lead singers from that used to wear nothing but like a sock on his penis. So my buddy Rob, he was at this same hotel that DerbyCon was at, the Hyatt, and there was a con called RiverCon. It was like a gaming convention, like RPG games and so forth. So he'd hooked up with some lady there, and he was feeling all full of himself. So there was a point in time in which he had nothing on but a sock, just like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he rode down. I think it was rode down up the escalator with his sock on the handrail. So just think about that if you're ever at the Hyatt in Louisville again. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
probably won't use that handrail.
I think they replaced that rubber since then.
Probably so. Probably in the 90s at some point. All right, anybody got anything else tonight?
I am good to go.
All right, now we can begin to become inappropriate. Everybody have a good night, and next week when I find a different way to stream this stuff.
That's right.
Talk to you later.
Just remember, wax on.
Shalom.
Wax on, wax off.